This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
Say please.
Could be us.
Say please.
Could be us.
Say please.
Could be us. She gotta say please.
Say please.
Welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I am your host, Borito, the #1 CDL ESPN analyst / content creator in the world. And I'm back again with you guys here on a Monday, as per usual, trying to make this a normal thing. I was not even going to record this until tomorrow because I wanted to watch the Sim podcast with attached before I made this, but I said I gotta get some up for Monday. You know, there's some people that look forward to this on Monday, so I'll get some out with this. Might do like a midweek one with some other things, but basically gonna be talking about Black Ops 7, some roster things, reacting to some flank stuff. It's gonna be a nice hour long, maybe less. I don't know if this will go an hour. But for those of you who didn't see it on video, I did wink at the camera. I hate to have to ruin like the joke, but we're going to see if this goes an hour. You know, the #1 CDL analyst and yapper. But for those of you on video right now, we have Scrap Stream Live pulled up as we're talking because we're going to go from him to a bunch of other tabs I have opened up, and we're going to go through some things. But first, we're going to talk about just Black Ops 7, my initial thoughts. I have not played the game yet, guys, by the way. I have not played. I've been spending all weekend doing car things, doing things in my car with my brother, fixing brakes, oil change, other things, preparing for the cold Canadian winter, getting all the big things out of the way. That way I don't have to do them when it snows, you know, always thinking ahead. So been busy doing all of that stuff and like buying new tools and actually becoming not a self-made mechanic, because obviously there's just a lot of things you cannot do on your own. You have to take it into a mechanic, but pretty much all the basic things I'm learning, all the maintenance things I could do instead of taking them to the shop, paying $100, I could do them here at home. So been doing that stuff pretty much all weekend. I know the beta came out on Thursday. I was streaming on Thursday, uploaded a video Thursday, and then Friday I was just busy car stuff all day. Saturday car stuff all day, Sunday car stuff all day, and now I'm here Sunday night recording this podcast before I go and eat some Panda Express. It's gonna be great. So initial thoughts on Black Ops 7. Without playing the game yet, I haven't played. I'll play on the open beta next weekend. There was no rush for me to pre-order this game and play. I don't care about playing the game early. I thoroughly enjoy watching. I don't really care because usually when it comes to betas, you can get bored of them real quick anyway. So I've been watching. From what I watched, the game looks good. The movement looks good. Obviously, Omni movement. I talked about it last year. Omni movement is just a game. It's just a game changer. Being able to move in whatever direction you want has been a thing I thought Call of Duty should have a long time ago because it feels very stagnant. Just being able to go straight or side to side, but you can't go back. Like, you can't just have like full control of your character to move everywhere. So I like the fact you can omni movement slide everywhere, so that's always been good. I like the introduction of wall bounce. I'm kind of seeing how it's kind of being abused a bit and how people are starting to figure it out, which kind of makes it look a bit cheese, but I think all that stuff's good. I think the wall bouncing is the perfect type of an advanced movement without making the game too annoying. I think the wall bouncing stuff is good. They may have to sort of tweak it a bit because sometimes like you're just able to like, I don't know, but I'll just have to play it first, but sometimes it just feels like you're just able to just like do some stupid stuff on it, but I don't really mind, but sometimes it does look like cheese. I'm completely fine with all games having some sort of advanced mechanic. I'm glad that's the advanced mechanic. Wow, Scrap. His movement is actually terrible, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I like the overall look of the game and everything. Like, I like the look. I like the movement. I like I basically like the look. I like how the maps look. But the big question, I made some YouTube videos about it already. Are the maps good? Everyone's saying, oh no, like they look good. They're obviously better than Black Ops 6. Well, no shit. That's a pretty low bar, okay? That's a pretty low bar. Saying the maps are better than Black Ops 6 does not mean the maps are good. That just means they're better than Black Ops 6, which had pretty terrible maps. So everyone's saying that like it's like a good thing or some sort of saving grace. I mean, you really have to rethink what you're saying there and like what you actually mean there. But, and also, I listened back to my last podcast. The amount of times I said but is insane. I need to use more transition words, but just did it again. Usually when you're just yapping, you're just trying to fill all the gaps, especially when you're doing a podcast by yourself. You're trying for there not to be empty air, but I just did it again. 3 times in a row. Have to fill the gap. I'm going to be very cognizant of using that word. So I was really just about to use it again. I stopped myself. All comes down to the maps, guys. All comes down to the maps. Okay, there's me yawning. So here, if you're on video, I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling up some of these map layouts for the Black Ops 7 maps. And just like Black Ops 6, without playing most of the maps, you look at them, they look decently sized, but then when you play them, or even better, when you specifically really look at the maps, when you really look at the maps and how much space there's on half these maps look small. And half of them are barely 3-lane maps. Some of them are like 2.5. I know that one map they're playing at COD Next is definitely a 2.5 map. Toshin. If you pull that one up, that one's a 2.5 map. Like, look at the outline of that map. This looks absolutely dreadful. It technically is a 3-lane map. If you want to say you could go right through that train cart on the right. For those of you on video, I'm so sorry for those of you on audio, but if you know, you know. I just used the word again. And most of you guys probably played the map by now. Is it not in the beta? I don't even know. But going through that train cart does not make the map a 3-lane map. It's a 2.5 lane map. A lot of these maps are small. I think we're going to run into the same scenario that we ran into in Black Ops 6, where a lot of these maps are actually just really small and they don't play that well. And even looking at Raid and Express from back in the day, some of these great maps from back in the day, they weren't that big, but the way that they made the objectives made the map big. And I could just say that. And the way they're making them in this game, the objectives were not good. Where's the one map I want to pull up? It was not Imprint. Imprint. I'm trying to do Core. I think it was Colossus. Is it not Colossus? It may be Colossus. I don't even know. Holy cow. The tactical map coming soon. That means that was not the map. It was not Flagship. It was not Exposure. It was not... Oh, there's more down here. Okay, this is where it probably is. It was Forge. It was Forge. Forge. Take a look at the outline of this map, guys. Take a look at the outline of this map. Take a look at the hardpoint rotations. I yapped about this one in my YouTube video, so if you saw it, you probably saw it. This is a prime example of the way they're just doing maps nowadays and the way they're making everything look. The hills being 2 feet away from each other, that's not hardpoint. That's not the hardpoint I grew up. That's not the hardpoint I grew up watching. Back in the day, you used to have to rotate from hill to hill, actually have battles on rotation going across the map or a certain distance across the map. And now it's like the hills are right beside each other, or you're rotating side to side. It doesn't really make sense rotating side to side when playing hardpoint. I thought the point of hardpoint is going back and forth, back and forth. That way, if you rotate early to one, it puts you at a disadvantage because you have to fight out afterwards to get to the other hill. I think putting hills side to side kind of takes away the actual skill of hardpoint, because the real skill of hardpoint was being able to get control of a P2, but now P3 is across the map. So you have to hold P2, but you have to work your way out to get to P3, as opposed to P2 and P3 being beside each other. So if you have control of the back spawns, you can just chain 2 hills. It should be having to chain 2 hills by doing the hard work to get out. the other team has a disadvantage because they're fighting for P2, but they also have an advantage because they're closer to the next hill because it's across the map. That's how I kind of feel how Hardpoint should be played, or how the objectives on it should be played, but the way they make it nowadays is just absurd. Obviously, you can see on this map, Forge, P4 to P5 are like the only normal rotations, and I'm so sorry for the yawning if a lot of you hate on audio, but I cannot control my yawning. But that's the biggest thing when it comes to maps. And I even like saw the clip of Zuma when he saw me talking about the maps. Burrito, just stop. People have called me a madman before, and then the situation happens, and then it's like, I think this is going to be one of those scenarios. When we get our hands on this game, the game's going to feel good. But then when we start to play these maps, we're going to be like, oh, they actually aren't as good. It's at the beginning, everything's going to look good because it's just not the old stuff. But I just used but again. It's going to, after we play for a while, you're probably going to see a lot of these maps are bad. On the contrary, though, Raid and Express kind of eased that pain a bit, and I think that was a tactical decision from Treyarch. I mean, Treyarch's like the best studio developer, I think, hands down. Throwing in Raid and Express is a very executive decision. If all fails, at least we got 2 good competitive maps. That's pretty much how it is. Those 2 are the saving grace. Now everything else just has to work on that, because Express... It's not played for Hardpoint, though. That's the thing. It's only been played for S&D. Do they play it for Hardpoint now? I don't think so. Yeah, because in Express, the 4 hills were up top in middle, and then P2s towards Ticket, and then P3 and P4 are like on each side of like the spawn for offense and defense, going down that like hallway to like the train station. So... it could be good, but do you want to play that? It might be good for the 3rd game mode, though. It might be good for the 3rd game mode. Like, Express is a very good Cap the Flag map. That map is so good for Cap the Flag, but we're not going to be playing Cap the Flag. Maybe Cap the Flag could actually work in this game, not going to lie. Because we already got 2 good maps for it. We have Express and we have Raid. Those are 2 good CTF maps. So if one of these maps is good for CTF, we pretty much have a 3rd game mode all figured out, and it's awesome. But I don't know. Who knows? That's pretty much the big thing for me, though, guys. I think gameplay-wise, I never think gameplay is a question, especially now that there's no tac sprint. Tac sprint perk. I know I talk about not G'ing everything, but that's the one thing I just need to see abolished from Call of Duty is tactical sprint. So if we could not play with that, and everyone could agree to not play with that, they should actually just incorporate that into the CDL game, I feel. Just not playing with tac sprint. That should just be not in the game. It should just be normal sprint. Because with tac sprint... I think tac sprint's the thing that makes the wall bouncing and the wall jumping even more, makes it even more worse if your POV is the guy that's like dying to that. I think that tac sprint, being able to just do this quick movement, like just those instant random bursts of agility off a wall, I think that's what makes it really annoying. But I think when the game is just played normal with the normal sprint, the normal movement, I feel like wall jumping is not going to be a problem at all. There's going to be a lot of awesome plays, but I don't think it's going to be crazy. I think tac sprint is what takes it over the top. Tac sprint takes everything over the top. And especially if these maps are going to be small, taking tac sprint out is going to make a big difference. And here I am thinking 13 minutes in this podcast. Has this even been a good 13? The second half of this podcast, guys, I'm telling you, is going to be incredible. But I am just dragging time. And I don't know why I'm dragging time. This is going to go like an hour and a half. And then I'm just going to be like, oh, I should have done that. But I was pretty much talking about the maps anyway. The maps are yet to be desired. I have to play them first, but I already know they're small. I've seen all of them. I saw Cortex, that map. Look at this mini map for those of you guys. If you're on audio and if you're on Spotify, you could open your phone right now while you're at work or your iPad and pop in right now to see exactly what I'm talking about. Follow the show on Spotify. Woo! Cortex is a small map. Like, look at the hardpoint points. Take a look how close it is. Like, that's mid. You could walk to the back spawn in like 3 seconds on both sides. Everything is super duper close to each other. I do not like this at all. I just don't like it at all. Don't like it at all. Well, these maps are very small. A lot of them are going to be good pub maps, but that's pretty much been the impetus every time they make maps is them being good for pubs. And Homestead looks like Artemis Forest. Like, that looks straight out of Artemis Forest. I hope not. That looks straight out of Artemis Forest right there. That might just be... Dude, imagine if they do a repeat of that map. Holy cow. I mean, that map was pretty balanced, but... don't really want to watch it. But it all comes down to the maps. I think the gameplay is just fun. And I want to read some stuff from my Discord community because I asked my Discord community how the game was because I haven't been playing it. I'm going to read some of it. There's a lot of hibbity-jibbity in here, but some of the notable things, some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. Someone said it's a way better Black Ops 6. Someone said don't fall for the coat burrito, like the game's terrible. Someone said honestly it feels the exact same but with different gun animations. Movement, pace, size of surroundings feel the same. Someone said the gunplay is way different from Black Ops 6. And I think the comment I liked the most was somebody said it's Black Ops 6 on IW maps. I thought that was very well said, especially watching like the map. It was not Fringe. It was the other one. No, Forge, not Fringe. Forge. It was Forge, and what was the other map? It was Forge, Imprint, and Exposure. Those maps look straight out of some that IW would make. Like, call me crazy. Those maps look straight out of Infinite Warfare. And so I completely understand what he said there. And then another guy said, I like this point. I actually commented on it. Where is it? It was really good. It was a really good point. There's a lot of argument here in about Scump being better than Kenny in my Discord right now. Some guy said, I love it. Just feels unoptimized. Fair since it's beta though. And time to kill. Scared about the maps. Feeling the same. Ooh. He said, the maps feel the same. Like the same vibe that you get in Black Ops 6. And I think that is so... I think that's going to be so true. I feel like they pretty much made an advanced version of the exact same game, pretty much. Scared about the map. Some guy said Forge and Exposure are mid. Interesting. I can't wait to play this game next week. I'm going to play next week, and I'm going to give my actual thoughts, even though my thoughts are pretty much the same. I already know these maps are small. I already know like the movement's smooth. The movement looks very smooth. Omni movement with now wall jumping, having another type of movement. Not only being able to move your character in any direction, but now if you go against the wall, like you don't just like hit the wall and that's it. You could actually do something with pretty much every interaction you have on the map, which I think is a good bonus when it comes to movement, because you don't want things to feel so stiff and so clunky, especially playing a game like Apex where you could wall bounce and you could pretty much do everything. That type of movement feels very good, but being able to just like not do much is not good. So now I want to talk about the guns a little bit. Let's talk about the guns a little bit in Black Ops 7. Apparently the best SMG is the Dravik. It looks like the best one. Haven't seen the other guns. I straight up don't know. I only know like 3 guns in this game. I have not watched that long. I've only been watching clips. So those are 3 guns we're basically going to talk about. Like the Dravik looks like the best gun. They already sort of nerfed it. Kind of looks like a PP90 Bison and VMP hybrid. But yeah, it looks like a good gun. And some I want to bring up on the flank, because they talked about on the flank, and I'm even going to get more into like some flank reactions a lot deeper in the show. I think it was Methods. It was Methods that brought it up. Everybody wants to be a super soldier nowadays, so when like the SMG can't do it all, you know, that's when they start nerfing and GAing stuff. I thought that was a very good point that he made. And he made the point, and he said it very eloquently. He actually said it very well. He was talking about how SMGs are so used to now being able to do everything with their gun. Like they don't even appreciate or know that much about the actual strategy it took to be an SMG before, where it's like you really can't take that long range gunfight. You need to find a different route to sort of cut down the angle and make fights in your advantage by taking them in certain areas. Like there's just certain areas you can't fuck with because an area is going to fuck with you. But nowadays it's like the SMG can chow the AR everywhere. So it kind of like takes another element of skill out of it when the SMG can basically do everything that like an AR can. And it's pretty much the super gun. So I thought that was a great point from Zinni. But the Dravik looks like a good gun, and like they already nerfed it. I don't think anyone's saying it's OP. I think everyone's saying like the time to kill is very low. So I can't wait to play that and figure that out. But if anything, they could just increase it a bit, and that's a pretty easy fix. And the M8. Okay, so someone want to talk about the M8. So I'm pulling up this clip of Dashi, which I'm probably just going to like have on repeat the whole time. And he's using it with iron sight too. No, he actually does have a dot sight. So yes, the M8 does one burst. And Black Ops 7, like they actually nerfed it too. Like they actually nerfed it. Yeah, they actually nerfed it. And everyone is talking about Black Ops 2 being like the best game of all time. Brother, that M8 sometimes, obviously it was very inconsistent, but a lot of times that gun one bursts, and a lot of time it two bursts. Sometimes from a certain range it three bursts. No one ever complained about it back then. It's still being used. It's like the main AR in Black Ops 2. And now all of a sudden, nowadays, it's like the gun one burst, fuck, get it out. And now that they nerfed it, I feel the M8 is a gun they should leave in. It's going to add some variety to the AR category. We can't just have another year with just one AR. We need more guns. Now, if we have a 3 burst and an auto, now people choose, sometimes I'm feeling like a 3 burst, like fucking maybe like for S&D or a certain scenario. I just like being more like precise with my shots, and a 3 burst will help here. And then maybe on some hardpoint maps or control maps, I'm going to pull my full auto AR, or the M8 could be for the main AR and then an auto AR for like the flex, but I'm going to get into flex like in a bit. But we need variety. Like these pros cannot just keep G'ing everything. And like I said on my stream before, I'm going to be on the GAs this year, okay? I know even Zuma talked about it, but let's see if he actually lives up to it, because it's a lot harder to live up to stuff when you're basically friends with the whole league, have friendships to protect, unlike me, I got nothing to lose, baby. I will be calling motherfuckers out, especially when it comes to GAs. And if I hear any information about any specific player who wanted to GA this, I will literally single-handedly call that player out. Like, I will say, hey guys, everyone, it was this guy. Like, I will be on top of this. I want to make sure this game is actually enjoyable. We have people from other esports making fun of us, saying this game's boring. Use one gun. Oh, yeah, but you can only use the one gun this way, on this weather, with this specific, that stuff could be very annoying, and it's not enjoyable for the viewer, especially if you're a casual player. If you're a casual Call of Duty player, you're like, let me go play competitive, and you're used to like your class with all these different varieties. Then you go queue in a rank. I already talked about this before, so I'm repeating this for anyone that's ever heard of it. And then you go on like the ranked mode. You go from pubs to rank, you're like, I'm going to try this competitive mode. And then you see your selection of 8 ARs is now down to 2. And your selection of SMGs is now down to a 2 or 3. And there's no snipers, and there's no shotguns, and there's no nothing else. It's just AR, SMG, 4 total guns. You go on your pistols, there's only one pistol you could choose from. Sorry, buddy. All the perks are gone. Pretty much all the perks except for like 1, 2, 3. We gotta make this game more accessible for casuals. We need to try to like build that bridge a bit. We need to mend that bridge a little bit. We can't be playing. Obviously, we got to take out bouncing betties and claymores and shock charges, like that stupid stuff. I understand that stuff, obviously, because that's like having like a 5th man. I'm gonna place my claymore here and I'm gonna go across the map. That's kind of dumb. But when it comes to guns and everything, we need to be more open-minded. Like all it takes is these pros to just like die to something like super quick. Yeah, that gun's out. we have to really play with stuff. There's so much stuff in this game. If something's OP, there's going to be another thing OP, and you're basically fighting fire with fire. We need to be more open-minded. I'm completely fine with keeping the M8 in. Like, who cares if it 2 bursts, dude? That's basically the same as a normal auto gun for killing you super fast. And especially if they nerf it. If they nerf it and it's like a 1 burst, like sometimes if you're super close or if you hit like the perfect upper body, upper neck headshots, that's fine. Otherwise, it's like a 2 burst, that's fine. Or a 3 burst, like that's completely fine. Why are we, like, I always thought three burst ARs was actual skill. Like, that's what took actual skill. And I don't know, man. They're just taking everything away I love, man. That's all they're doing, man. They're just taking away everything I love. I don't know what it is, man. I'm just doing it. But I would keep the M8 in. I would keep the M8 in. And here's a clip of Mercules with, like, the Dravik. But I also want to talk about the Peacekeeper. Okay. This is the third gun I want to talk about. I heard him talking about on the flank, and I think they're a bit confused about it, but I don't think any of them like really know. I think the Peacekeeper is like the perfect flex gun. I talked about in the last podcast too, I think. For those of you who don't know, I mean, fuck, who even knows if I know? The Peacekeeper came out in Black Ops 2. It was a DLC weapon. It was not in the original game. It was a DLC weapon. And it was a hybrid gun. They made it a hybrid gun, which basically means it was half SMG, half AR. Like, they basically made a flex gun. That's what the Peacekeeper was. So everyone's saying, oh my god, this is like a fast AR, like this basically moves like an SMG. It's because that's literally how they made the gun. That's like what they made the gun for. Like, more of an AR, SMG hybrid where you could run fast, but you could still kind of like have some range on it, and it's still good close range. That's what the Peacekeeper was. It was a hybrid gun. It was a DLC gun that they made, and that's a normal gun. And I know sometimes when they bring guns into other games, they obviously switch them a bit, but that is a hybrid gun. And if we keep that gun in, and I see like the AR that like Scrap's using, I don't even know what the heck this is. I mean, he's sniping right now. Okay, he has the arrow. What's it called? MI5. M15. So if we have the M15, an M8, a Peacekeeper, and multiple SMGs, that's variety. We can have like a 6-gun meta, if not more, like a 7-gun meta. Like, that makes things interesting. What is wrong with that? Let's hope these pros don't try to fucking ruin this game. Honestly, by the way, let's try to hope, because we can have so much variety. Like, this gun Scrap's using, I'm assuming, is like probably like the best AR if he's using it. I mean, obviously, like besides like the M8. So if the M15, the M8, and whatever guns like the Peacekeeper, like the Dravik, we could have at least the 6-gun meta, if not more. Can't wait to see like the rest of the guns first. And then if we have, I know a lot of people complain about it. I have no problem having fuck shotguns in. The only issue I have is if they're like the model 1990. Anyone who's ever played MW2, I'm not talking about MW2 like 3 years ago. I'm talking about like MW2 like 2009, like whatever that year was. They had these model 1997s, and they had them akimbo, and they literally shot across the map and one-shotted. Those kind of shotguns are ridiculous. That gun need to be nerfed, because you literally can do anything. You go around the corner and you could be like halfway across the map and you're just dying in one shot. Those are OP. But if shotguns are literally one-shot kills or like 2-3 shot kills from like super close range, I'm fine with having them in. Like, that involves strategy. Like, all of a sudden, like, you have a shotgun now and like a pistol, you have no range. So if you go out in the open, like, you're pretty much screwed to like an AR and SMG. That would add some variety, like an S&D. I'm completely fine with having that stuff in, but I already know the pros are gonna let shotguns in. To be honest though, when it comes to GAs, I mean GAs are obviously completely different from the rules, because CDL makes the rules. Like, they make the rules, and then like the pros make rules on top of that. So they could technically allow shotguns in, but if all the pros GA them, then I guess that's what everyone plays on, which is actually annoying. I honestly just feel like if like the pros GA something, like that should just be like them and everyone should just be doing their own thing. But it's so funny how like when pros GA something, it's universal across the whole entire like competitive landscape and everything, which is hilarious. I mean, I could obviously see why if like you're in challengers, you're trying to get in the league, you know, you have to play what they're playing, but it's annoying to have that kind of dictatorship, especially when they make the game so lame, because maybe if they saw like challengers playing with snipers and shotguns, they'd realize it's actually not that bad. That's what I think. And if you want to talk about not that bad, we're going to talk about active camo. Active camo. We're going to talk about this real quick. I mean, it's not going to be that long. But active camo is not OP. If the pros GA this, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. And I'm going to start calling people out. Because I even watched in COD Next multiple times, people are popping active camo and they're going around a corner and people see them just fine. You know? People are just seeing them just fine. I'm watching multiple fails of people using active camo because they just get spotted so fast. Active camo is not OP. So I think having active camo, obviously like not everybody, you can have a whole fucking team of like 4 in S&E. Can you imagine all of LA Thieves popping active camo on like a 5-5? That'd be kind of cheese. But if one player is allowed to have active camo in all game modes, that adds an element to the game. Oh, I'm going to make a play with the active camo to break the hill. It adds a skill diff. It adds a layer of having to think. Now, the other team's got to, oh, fuck, they probably have camo. They're probably going to try to break the skill. We have to really watch this spot. Really watch the spot. He's going to try to make it. You know, that adds an element. That adds strategy. That adds coaches in the element, like when we should or should not use active camo. Stuff like this makes people think. I know pros don't like to think. I know thinking's very hard. Very hard. But active camo, I think, is great for competitive. Great. It adds another element, and it makes the game way more exciting in all game modes. Control, even. Bring it in everything. Like, I think it adds a layer. It's a chance to make a play. Or if you don't make a play, everyone's going to call you like a geek because you suck and you didn't make a play with the active camo. You cost your team. So it goes both ways, and it's tremendous. So keep it in. It's that simple. It's that simple. What the XNX clip I got? I mean, here's just Merc frying. I mean, we already pulled up this clip. He's been frying. And now we're going to watch this clip of Kenny getting absolutely slammed by Hydra. I absolutely love this.
My screen's just fucking...
It's so funny. My comments like right there. Another 0.7 season loading. I forgot I commented that. That's hilarious. I forgot I commented that. Okay. So here's Kenny getting a world star by Hydra. Let's watch this. Should I actually play with like the sound? I mean, it's pretty loud.
No, that's with the confidence we give these motherfuckers. I'm on me. What's up, buddy?
Absolutely wiping the. Oh man, and then he died to a BZ right after. Yeah, so I can't believe I commented. Who's the one person that replied? You're so brain dead, G. Oh my god, everyone just annoying. God, I was hard baiting with that. I'm not gonna lie, I was hard baiting. And now Shroud. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about Shroud, but the only reason why I'm blocked this because I want to use it for this podcast, but I don't hear anything this guy's like. Everything he says about Call of Duty is negative. I know there's a lot of negative about Call of Duty, but this just looks like that bitter person that's just never going to be happy with anything Call of Duty. And it's just the way it is. And I know like a lot of it comes down to, because they were even talking about like my Discord is like a big like debate with like keyboard and mouse and it being more inclusive into Call of Duty. Call of Duty is mainly a controller game. It was made around controller. It literally started up on console. So I mean, I don't know. I don't really talk about this stuff, to be honest. I do agree it does need to be more inclusive, but what the heck are you going to do? You're going to give keyboard and mouse people aim assist? That's just, you know? And you can't take away aim assist from like controller. You know, there's just like, I don't know, but he just keeps complaining. So, you know, it is what it is. How do I hide this stuff? I mean, I'll actually hide it later, but yeah, so I popped up on my feed. So what are we going to get into now? We're already at the roster mania portion. While we're just flying through, this is not that much to talk about, but we're already half an hour into this. I think with these roster mania stuff, this is going to take us to the last hour. I mean, here I am speeding through this podcast. I'm sorry. It's kind of an average episode. Not much to talk about, but, talking about Black Ops 7 a bit. Talking about Black Ops 7 a bit before I get the chance to play it. Pretty chill. Give you something in your ear to listen to. So what should we talk about first? I want to talk about, actually, I'm going to get into Cloud9. I want to make this a little bit interesting first. But before I get into Cloud9, quick thoughts on the flank. But I know there's a lot of other people saying it too. Talking about the Falcons being a mid-pack team. Brother, I think they're way below a mid-pack team. I'm not sure if that's just me. I think they're way below a mid-pack team. I think they're fighting for like 8th through 9th. Or I mean, not 8th through 9th, 8th through 12th. Or 9th through 12th. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, in the bottom 4 for sure. I'm feeling like bottom 4 is going to be like them, Rocker, Cloud9, and... I mean, it can't be LAG. It's going to be Falcons. Oh, I have to pull up these rosters. It's going to be Rocker, Cloud9, Ravens, and them. Yeah. Actually, but I'm going to talk about Vancouver Surge. Let's talk about Vancouver Surge real quick, actually. Let's talk about Vancouver Surge. So, the Vancouver Surge. Okay. Oh my god, this is terrible audio. The Vancouver Surge are reportedly in advanced talks to add Isaiah Gwyn, and Halo star Cassie Legend Sabri to their starting lineup for the upcoming Black Ops 7 season. The move would mark a major crossover moment for the CDL, as Legend currently competes with Optic Gaming and Halo with the Call of Duty all-time great Formal, who are in action this weekend at HCS Charlotte. With the Halo season set to conclude at the World Championship on October 26th, the timeline gives Legend ample opportunity to transition into Call of Duty before the launch of Black Ops 7, holy cow. Gwyn, meanwhile, is weighing multiple options, but is believed to be leaning toward Vancouver in order to team with Legend. Though he has an offer from Cloud9 New York, sources indicate his preference to link up with the Halo Pro, forming what could be one of the most intriguing duos of the new season. If completed, these signings would signal the Surge's intent to take risks and build a roster that blends proven CDL talent with fresh, high upside crossover talent. So what do we think about this move? So I'm going to go on Roster Mania and go through the full rumored roster according to Parasite on the flank. So it's Vivid, Mac, Gwyn, and Legend. There's aspects to this I like, but overall as a team, I mean, it mean Gwyn is going to be the AR flex and it's going to be Mac. I mean, Mac can play flex too, but I think Mac might be better served as an AR. Or, I mean, he might be better served as an SMG. I think Gwyn should probably have to be the AR, maybe. But I don't like this whole dynamic. I really don't like this dynamic. Do you want to know what this team needs? Do you want to know what this team needs, guys? This team needs a handsome, a charismatic, a confident, Canadian coach. That's what this team needs. I may know a guy who would love to help Legend turn into a superstar player and just put time into helping this guy become an all-star in the league. I would love to do that. I'm not gonna lie, but this team's going to need a really good coach. I don't really like the assembly. I like the fact that they're taking a chance on Legend. That's what I love about this roster. That's what I absolutely love. But you take that out, and I like Mac in the team, but I don't like Vivid, Mac, and Gwyn. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm not sure if those are the players altogether you want to pair Legend around in his first season, in his inaugural season. Is this the trio that you would want to give Legend? I it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I know Legend's gonna be flattered that, you know, oh, there's a pro that wants to go out of his way to play with me. If I'm him, if I'm giving him any sort of advice, this is no disrespect to Gwyn, but he needs a better system. This is not really Vivid Mac Gwyn. Like, even looking on paper and seeing it and reading it out loud, I don't know. I feel it's a team that, like, one match or like a couple of, like, oh shit, they might get you. Like, they might get you. Like, they might get you a couple times. But that's tough. I don't even know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to process that, actually. I didn't process it before this podcast, as you could tell. I did not pre-plan to process what this roster would actually do to my brain right now. I would tweak a couple things. Or one thing. I would tweak a couple things in order for this roster to look good. I would much rather... It sounds crazy because Mac and Vivid have more experience, but I'd rather have Crazy Mamba with Legend and then have another person, but I'm not sure if that's just me. I think they want to put Legend around someone that has experience, and Reese does have experience, but I would put Legend with like an insight, if anything. But I don't even know about that because I feel like probably would bring him down, to be honest. I would put him, even with like Cobra, like throw him another French guy, you know, throw him something like that, throw him some familiarity. You know, there's so much I could do. I don't know, they're just not doing it. I think if it was like Reese, Cobra, Mac, and Legend, you know, something like that, that would look way better. I feel like they got to tweak some a bit. If we look at the options here for ARs, I mean, I already talked about it before, the AR category, man, there's just not, you know, it's not bumping. It's not bumping like it used to. Who would you even pair him? I don't know. Man. I don't know, but I do not like that roster. I feel like they got to tweak stuff, but just for them giving him like the shot, I feel it's great, but I'm not sure if this is going to boost his... I'm not sure if it's going to boost his stock because the team may not do that well, but if he's doing well on the bad team, that's what he has to hope for. But I'm saying but again, that could breed bad habits. If you realize that your team's in a terrible position and now you're just like saving face by playing for statistics, it may just create some bad habits that going into your next team you're now going to have to break. So that's definitely something I'd be of concern of. I'm not gonna lie. I'd even throw like Neum in this team, honestly, if Koi actually doesn't get him. I hope Koi actually took a chance on someone like Neum and not went back to inside. I really hope. Even Exceed, I don't want to pair Exceed with Legend. I feel that's too early. I would pair Legend even with like a person like ProLoop, like pair with another like grinder, like pair with another like super duper grinder, and that's an interesting team, you know? That's an interesting team all of a sudden. ProLoot, Legend, ProLoot could be on an SMG. Him and Legend and S&D could like probably do some crazy shit. And ProLoot is a very serviceable, and he could be a very good secondary AR, and it would make him shine more. As opposed to Gwyn, who's that superstar person, you're kind of going to bring Legend in. You know, the dynamic may not be there. I actually like a person like ProLoot. This team looks infinitely better if you take Gwyn out of it. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. This team looks infinitely better taking Gwyn out of it. Just dynamic wise, Legend, ProLoot, Mac, Vivid, that looks way better. Like the rest of these gonna be good. Slang could be a question, but if Mac's going off and maybe a Legend's going off and ProLoot has eye interactions, I mean, the Slang could be up there, but who knows? I don't know. I'm not fully convinced on Reese as like a full main AR. I'm not fully convinced on like his not going to say skill level because obviously he can shoot his gun, but his ceiling, you know? The slaying compared to the likes of Scrap, even though he's an anomaly. That's how I'm really thinking about it. As an SMG, I think the world of Reese. I think the world of Reese as an SMG, but as an AR, I know he won Challengers Champs. But that's Challengers Champs, honestly, to me. That's Challengers Champs. But I don't know. That roster, if I'm Legend, I would not play with Gwyn. I know Gwyn's excited to play with him, but I would not reciprocate that energy if I was Legend. But he may be flattered, though. He may be flattered, be like, wow, people want to play with me even though I'm not proven at all, you know? If he does his homework, if, like, Shotzi or anyone is, like, in the DMs, yo, man, like, I would not, hey, man, if I were you, man, I would not, you know, fucking throw him something like that. Someone got to advise him, you know? Someone got to, like, I would not join that team, brother, or I would not play with this guy. Like, I would not do that. You know, you got to do something like that. You got to point homie in the right direction. You got to point homie in the right direction. And now, we're talking about Cloud9. And man, I got some stuff to say. As we're winding down here on this episode of Burrito Talk, we're at 45 minutes. We're going to hit the hour mark because we always do. It's magical. Absolutely magical. So, Cloud9, New York, targeting Afro Beans and Abe for BO7. Cloud9 New York's franchise is preparing for a major roster overhaul heading into the Black Ops 7 season. According to sources, the team has identified Afro, Beans, and Abe as its primary targets to build around as it looks to establish itself as a dark horse contender in the CDL. After mixed results in the previous season, Cloud9 New York is clearly shifting strategy by targeting a blend of high potential players and veterans. The organization aims to secure a roster that can grow together while still competing with top teams from day one. The organization is expected to continue exploring additional options to finalize its four-man lineup. If deals with Afro, Beans, and Abe are completed, Cloud9 New York will immediately become one of the most intriguing teams to watch for the rest of the Rostermania and into the Black Ops 7 season. From Ronnie Intel on GG Breaking Point. Man, where do I start? On paper, I like Afro, Beans, and Abe. That sounds like a very saucy, spicy trio. I'm not going to lie. It sounds like a very saucy, spicy trio that could actually make things happen. And I've thought the world about Beans in the past, but I got something to say about Beans. You know, I vouched for him so hard. I was like, this guy is actually gross. And I'm not saying like he's not gross. Like he's obviously still gross. But in terms of how like you play it, there's being a good player and then there's like being a good player in like the CL. Two different things. Everyone could shoot their gun and be good, you know? But this is like a different kind of good I'm talking about. So me saying he's bad, like coming up, not, you know. Anyways, okay, you got my point. I thought the world of him on Boston, even when they weren't doing good. And I was like, all this guy needs like a way better team and a good system, and this guy will fry. Last year in Black Ops 6, Beans gets himself onto a team of Insight, Kleenex, and Joseph Romero Deceives. If you're looking at it from Beans' POV, before that year started at Black Ops 6, the teams you were on before and the BS that you had to endure, and you ended up on this now team of Kleenex, Insight, and Joseph Romero Deceives. You are on your knees thanking the Lord above. Everything's peachy. This is awesome. Not only is it a good trio, there's EU connection. They're friends of yours. The coaching staff, also EU connection. You know, you have pretty much everything you could have wanted to be on a team. You have Insight, a slower AR who's fine doing all the dirty work, who basically sets up his other AR for success. You have Joe, who is a superstar sub, but he's not a Hydra. He's not a superstar sub who does his own thing and lacks team objective responsibility. He's a superstar because he goes in first and he does everything. He's doing OBJ and everything, and he's still doing good. Interactions, still doing good, still popping pieces. And then you have Kleenex, extremely smart, fast pace. You have two of the best SMGs possible. Like probably top 3, top 4. I mean, obviously, if like you do Shotzi Hook, LA Thieves, top 4 SMG duo. I would probably say top 3 SMG duo right there. And an AR who will just let you be you. And the coaching staff around you and the environment that you're in. You're friends with everybody. It's not toxic. So this is literally the perfect environment for a man who in previous years was thrown into the Boston Breach blender. The Boston Breach bullshit, you know? He's thrown into that shit. And now you're finally on a good team with good players, good friends, good coaching staff around you. And what do? You let me down. You let everyone down. And you don't perform. A guy comes in when your visa is not working. He does better than you, but you're still able to maintain your spot because you're friends with everyone on the team. And then you still do bad. And now you're not on the team anymore. That right there, that instance right there, that should be a career ender. Like, you know, that should be a career ender. Like, realistic. If we look at some of the other players in the league who've had multiple bad stints, and then they get onto a good team, they still don't perform. A lot of times you don't hear from those motherfuckers again. And you hear Methods talking about it's not a friendship league. And I'm not faulting Beans for this. He's obviously like a very nice guy. He's actually very fucking funny from like all like the things I've seen. You're telling me after a year like that, him getting onto a team is not friendship? It's either a friendship league or there's just not that many good ARs, and there's not. So, you know, it's a mixture of both. But for a lot of players, that'd be a career ender. And then you got players like Standy. You know, you got players like Standy, players like, who else? You got players like Standy who are exiled because of bad vibes. And then you have players like Beans who are in the league just not performing, even on good teams, and they're still getting other chances. And then you have people who haven't really had a chance on like a good team, had been on like bad teams, like, oh, Johnny. Like, Johnny is gross. But he's only ever been on Paris Legion and LAG, like the worst version of LAG. So he hasn't really had like a good shake with a good team. And, you know, can't get back on a starting roster right now. I mean, he'll probably be in the future. You know, that's what I'm saying. And then there's players like Beans who literally had the best scenario possible and just like not performed. You know, that should be a career ender. And I'm not saying it should. I'm not saying, yeah, like he needs to stop playing. But I'm just saying for a lot of players, you know, they would probably have to go back down to challengers for a long time. And, you know, they would have to regain. But he's able to get on this team. Good for him. But just off that fact, I feel like the Ultra thing really made me just not want to hype up Beans anymore. You know, I was the biggest Beans fan. I was talking him up. I was thinking on this Ultra team, he is literally going to light the world on fire. This guy's going to be like a 1.15 AR. He's going to have Joe and Kleenex there. They're going to be frying. Like, I'm thinking, wow, this team going to Black Ops 6 is incredible. And then he just proceeds to have the most disappointing year you could ever ask. And just not playing good at all. Just literally not doing anything on the map. And then a lot of instances playing slow. And just not matching the pace correctly with the rest of his team. And just not doing anything. And it's just like so disappointing. So disappointing. And he still ended up on a team. Like, I'm actually pretty mind blown about that. I'm not going to lie. So, I mean, kudos on him for that. But already not high on this Cloud9 team. I like Afro and Abe. I actually like that. I think the reason why they put Beans in there, so like, you have an EU duo. I think that's the reason. I think that's the angle that they were trying to approach. Yeah, but just doesn't do it for me. Beans has a lot of people to prove. If he has another bad year and he still gets on the team next year, I mean, you cannot move me from the stance that this is not a friendship league. You couldn't even move me from that. You couldn't move me from that. But yeah, he's on the team, so I mean, good for him. As for that Cloud9 team, all depends who like their fourth is. If we take a look at the options, it'd have to be another AR, because obviously Afro and Abe, even that dynamic wise is very good. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually very good. Just dynamic wise. For ARs, who would be a good fit in there? They're probably gonna get Camby. If they get Camby, that's a friendship league. That's a friendship league if I've ever seen one. If I'm Abe, I'm doing everything I can to put a stop to that. They're going to get some sort of EU influence, but I mean, I already know Camby's on Boston. Never mind. He actually is on Boston. I just freaking took him off because I thought Boston should actually get somebody else, but they're not going to. If they get like Awakening or something, that's just not going to be good. They need a really good AR to go in there. I don't know who that would be. Cobra, maybe? That's the only Encourage? Is Encourage gonna get us? Or are they gonna get Mythics a shot? Who knows? Mamba. If Mamba's on the team, I'll get Mamba. Like, I'd fucking run that. Yeah, but Mamba and Beans, I don't know, dude. There might be a dynamic issue. Just a lot of these bottom teams are just not good. Okay, we're gonna close out the show with this clip from the flank. So we're gonna be going slightly over an hour. Wow, could you imagine? I made it all the way to the hour mark. We're going to talk about this clip of Parasite talking about Hydra. Let's play the clip.
All right, I'm going to tell you now. You want to know whose maturity year it needs to be? It needs to be fucking Paco's, right? Because Paco has had, granted, they could have been warranted, has had problems with two teammates now in Dante and probably Dan. And that is the reason why he's probably not on this team. Paco has a very Paco has a very
Ben. Let
Paco,
him
do you know that for a
Let
fact?
him speak, and then you can
I
go.
might know.
But he's throwing out a wild one there. Do you know that for a fact?
I might know some things, but anyways, listen. Paco is a very he's a person that wants to play the game a very certain way, and when people do not agree with them or maybe have differing opinions, it could rub him the wrong way. Paco is a star in his own right, and he's a very smart player.
Back?
I'm not going to listen, bro. I'm not going to sit there.
Are you saying for a fact that there were issues between Dan and Paco last year?
I'm going to go ahead and say I might know some things, but the point that I'm trying to make here, is
all right. So I just want to talk about that. Back in December, it was like January. It was like December. I'm pretty sure it was like December. In December, I watched a map. It was LA Thieves against Atlanta FaZe, and there was an LA Thieves comm. LA Thieves listening, okay? And there was it was very small, okay? It was very small. I even showed it back on stream like months later. But I showed it back on stream. It was the smallest thing. Nobody would have thought anything of it. But I thought something of it, but I wasn't going to say anything because it was like too early. You're reaching, you're always reaching. So I was like, hey, I'm going to hold on to this. So I recorded it. I kept it in the files. And it was very small. Like, it actually looks like freaking nothing when like you play it back. But it was P4 on Vault Hardpoint. LA Thieves had control. But FaZe was sneaking through Art side, and Envoy, Ghosty, or Scrap, I don't know who, they were telling Paco there's a person in Art. Paco was back spawn, and without going into Art, he said there's nobody there, because he was just assuming if I just stare at the back door of Art, like, we're soaking P4 times, so if they go into Art, they're gonna try to like fly out the back. So he just looked at the door. He said, "No one's there. Stop watching it." And then, like 2 seconds later, somebody saw the guy Art, and it was Ghosty, and he's like, "He's there." Like, he's there, and like I heard the way he said it was very subtle. It's very subtle. I was like, huh, interesting. Held on to that one. And then I think it was a couple weeks later or 3 weeks later, they were playing LAG. It was Skyline Hardpoint. It was, I believe, the second rotation or first rotation, a P3 going into P4. So you can go back and watch it. And it's on my Twitter too. I recorded the clip. I literally posted on Twitter. And Hydra and Ghosty are at P3. And there's a guy coming from the Cobble side. And Hydra dies to him. And he's like, one shot. Ghosty, granted we're in like podcast review, so we can't see hit markers. Ghosty proceeds to shoot at this guy. The guy turns on him and he slams him. And Ghosty just yells out, one shot, man. Like, he's not one shot. Like, and then I get to see Hydra, obviously, they're in the middle of a game, so he's not going to be like, yo, what the, like, but I can see the way he blinks, like, he acknowledged what Ghosty said, and, like, it kind of, like, tilted him, but he recognized in the middle of a match, can't say anything about it. And those two moments, like 2-3 weeks apart from each other, I was like, there's some sort of animosity between these two. Because, number one, I've never heard that comm. In the history of Call of Duty, even when people are getting slammed on, I never hear a comm like, man, he's not one shot. Like, what are you saying? Like, that, I've never heard that in a comm ever. In a listening. It could happen in a scrim. It could happen when like they're not in a listening. But I've never heard it in a public listening. Okay, never heard it. And I heard it, and I was like, "There's some underlying." Because I just like know, like just being like a people person. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. Like I'm not a therapist. When I see something like that, that just screams to me. There's like something going on there, because that just screams like. They're probably like annoyed at each other like behind the scenes, and now it's like carrying it on into like a public setting, but it's like without them even knowing that it's actually in a public setting. Like there's something going on there. So that's what I thought. And then near the end of the year, when they started losing champs or whatever, I brought it up on stream. Everyone was like, not really. I think I deleted the YouTube video because I was trying to find it. I think I deleted it because I was like, oh fuck, I guess I'm tweaking. And then Parasite comes out and says this, and I'm like, oh my god, I was not crazy. And granted, we can't confirm everything, but, you know, I believe him. He would not just, like, say this publicly on the flank in front of over 8,000 people if there was not truth to it. So, I was right. Okay? I was right. Some people call me a madman. I was fucking right. Okay? I was right. And that's what I wanted to bring up. I knew there was some sort of hidden animosity going on there because I know how like Shotzi got checked and like Dashy got checked by Ghosty, and I was thinking he's gonna go in LA Thieves, and one person on that team who people probably like will not even think, but I think the whole thing with NYSL and Crim really actually highlighted it for me and really kept it back in my noggin. Is Hydra. Like, he's obviously like a cool guy, but he strikes me as the type of person, I'm just not sure if he has a grasp of like the full, like, obviously like he speaks English and everything, but I don't think I think just his culture is like different. I don't think he interprets like cadences and everything like the same way that we do. Like, he just strikes me as someone that gets offended a lot more easily. And even like D-Real back in the day, babysitting him, always going for bat for him. Skies, the way Skies was with him, always like Skies felt like a babysitter for him. Always made sure like he was like happy type shit. It felt like he's always had like that sort of thing around him. Sender now, I mean, granted he was always there, but the reason why he brought Sender in, I feel like he always has someone around him to like, you know, coddle him a bit, you know. Someone that just lets him know everything's actually all right, you know? That type of thing. And he just strikes me as a person that gets, like, annoyed, like, really easily. But obviously, he's not on any social media, so we're never going to hear anything about it. It's obviously going to be behind the scenes because, you know, if it ever went public, like, Sky's arguing with Hydra, everyone's going to be like, Hydra's way better than you. Shut the fuck up, shitter, you know? So it's like, you can't really even go, like, public with that stuff. But that strikes me as something that's very, very logical, and I actually do believe Haggy for that. I'm actually not gonna lie, I actually believe him. I'm not gonna lie, I actually super duper believe him. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. And then they talked about Scrap. So like Ben talked about Scrap being more mature, having to be more mature. I think Scrap actually is the year on LA Thieves with like the comms I was hearing, especially in times where they're doing bad, like in the game and things were going wrong, I always heard Scrap still being positive, still calling it like normal, still like trying to win, putting effort in. And that was a big step from like previous years when I heard him. So I already see he's already become a very mature player. Like he's already there. There's just some about like those like champs moments. I don't know, but he's already a mature player. So I don't know what Ben is talking about for that. I mean, maybe he just like needs like an update. But yeah, I already talked about like these like last episode, but I just want to talk about that stuff real quick. I have a person coming over, so I told him to come over at 9. It's 8:59, so yeah. Just want to get an hour podcast out there for you guys for Monday. I'm sorry if this podcast was not as good as the other ones. It was kind of, expanding on Black Ops 7 for half an hour and talking about these rosters for half an hour, but I'm going to watch the Simp podcast with Attach, and some other stuff is going to happen throughout the week. The open beta, I'm going to be playing it. So next week's episode is going to be back to good shit, back to the good shit. It's going to be a very good podcast. But I just now, I'm really going out of my way to get something out every single Monday to you guys. So yeah, every single Monday, I'm doing my best to get it out. Yeah, I could yap on it, dude. I had problems getting to the hour mark, and now that I'm at the hour mark, I'm like, I could talk about this flank stuff for another half an hour. I really can. And I think we'll add that to the next episode. So we'll add that to the next episode. And yeah, I pretty much talked about everything. No, wait. They talked about the Gentleman's thing real quick. I want to talk about the Gentleman's thing because they talked about that. And they said that just a team that'll blow up. Actually, I already talked about that. I basically said pretty much the exact same thing. I think Neptune's actually made the glue to that team. Because I think Neptune being out of the league for so long and now having a good year they just had on Seattle Surge, I think he's going to have that mentality of, I'm not trying to go back. And he will do everything he can to make things work. You have Envoy, who's super chill. I think it's going to come down to Dante and Ghosty, really. I think they're going to be the explosion in that team, I feel. Maybe they might argue amongst Envoy and Neptune, but I feel like Dante and Ghosty are going to be the ones. And this is another proving year for Dante. If you fuck up on this team, you're not getting back on another good team. I'm sorry. Even though you're your top AR in the league's completely sucky on ARs. If you can't perform on this team, or you're kicking and fighting bad vibes on this team, you're gonna end up exiled like a lot of other players, regardless how good you are. So you definitely got to lock in. That whole Gentleman team got to lock in. All of them have something to prove. Neptune proving he's a superstar. Ghosty proving he could still do it, even though he's already proven in the past. Still be good without superstars on your team. Envoy proving he could still be Envoy without Hydra. Scrap proving he's not shit because he's been shit kind of the past few years with Ultra and 100 Thieves. And then Dante, who's trying to prove has to win without superstars. So we'll see. But with that being said, guys, enjoy your Monday, enjoy your work week. No inspirational quote because I don't have time, but just keep doing your thing. And I guess my inspirational quote for this week, don't think about it too much. Don't get analysis paralysis. That is a doom to us all. Don't think about something too long. If you want to do some, just do it. If you're trying to plan out your day and you have a lot of things to do, pick one thing, do it, and go from there. Just make sure you're always doing something, and the day will flow, things will get done. Don't think about it too much. That's my words of wisdom. But this has been Burrito. Bada boom, bada bye. We'll see you next time.